Actually, the last question, it was perfect, kind of flowing into what I wanted to talk about, which is this relationship, which I know is the newest topic in the face of the planet. But I fell in love, actually, for the first time about 8 months ago. And it's been, I'm older, I've had a lot of life experience. A lot of what you've said today has resonated as far as feeling that kind of disconnection and being with people, but having to feel a little bit fragmented with them about kind of how far you can connect with them. And I love connecting with people. I think it's my favorite thing to do in the world. And I think being able to talk and find that source that we know that we are through conversation is the most beautiful thing in the world. And ironically, I fell in love with someone who doesn't like to talk. And it's been a trip. It's been such a trip, just loving someone so much and also wanting connection. And when you started this talk today, you asked, what's the thing that you want? And I know that I want connection. I want more connection. And I have that with so many people in my life. Everyone that I'm close to, I feel this immense connection with. And it's such a practiced vibration for me, and it's what I get paid to do for a living. I connect with people. And to then be in love with someone and not feel connected, feels the dissonance in that feels so intense. And
well, you're right. It is a really good timing for this conversation, because most people misunderstand, and we can feel a little bit of that going on with what we're hearing from you, that the connection that you're reaching for, you think it's connection with another, and certainly it is that, but it's the connection with who you are, which then allows the fuller connection with the other.
Definitely.
Is what we're really talking about. And it's interesting because so often in a relationship with another physical friend, you're looking for constant feedback for that connection, and that messes things up. That's why it's the connection with who you are that must come first. We wanted to ask you, or anyone, when you have that feeling of falling in love, what it really is alignment with source, while you hold another as your
Definitely.
object of attention. So then afterward, when you're analyzing it as you are now, what makes feedback from them matter? In other words, when you say I fell in love with someone, this is a good question for everyone. When you're in love with someone, does it follow that there is reciprocal love back?
Yeah. Well, you
follows,
want there to be, but you can just love without needing that back.
And you want there to be.
Yeah.
But we submit to you that the truest form of being in love is not needing that feedback, because you can control the love that you offer, but you can't control what comes back.
Exactly.
Now there is influence.
And that's and that's the conversation that just happened, is kind of exerting that influence to create that connection, but also recognizing there doesn't need to be that feedback. But then at what point?
But the thing is, when you understand the basis of it, and you are tuned in, tapped in, turned on, and holding someone as your object of attention, which is almost always the case when you're falling in love with someone and they're falling in love with you. When that is happening, when you are in that kind of alignment and you feel that feeling, that's what we wish for you to be feeling for all the time, because it is illogical for you to steadily feel that way and not have the universe deliver someone to you who is a perfect match. So the communication, the ongoing stuff, is more about keeping yourself sort of on the same wavelength. And we think that's more what you're talking about than anything else, because it wasn't something that you made up. It was certainly something that was reciprocal. It's just that now that you've sort of settled in a little bit and you're not getting the chattery feedback that you're accustomed to, now you're beginning to feel a little insecure. Because you are like most people, you don't need to feel insecure. But like most people, you are accustomed to the feedback to keep yourself pumped up. And that's really what we were talking about with our friend earlier. We want you to not need the feedback to be necessary for you to be pumped up, because it makes you to be dependent upon things you can't control. Yeah. So if you're not dependent upon something that you can't control, but you are continually just holding the other as your object of attention and feeling love, now you're in that secure place. Yeah. And now your relationship with who you are will be stable, which means your relationship with your lover will be too.
Yeah. And I guess that there's kind of a disparity in our life experience. And I can see the moment that I fell in love with him was a moment when I saw the potential. And it was that moment of recognizing, like, that our souls have resonance and there's a potential there.
That's the most important thing that you've said, and it's the most important thing in relationship to the subject of love. Our souls have resonance. But the first thing that you want to make sure is that you have resonance with your soul.
Yeah.
Because that's the only thing you can control. And if you've got resonance with your soul, then law of attraction is not going to bring someone to you who doesn't have resonance with the resonance that you have. Sort of puts it all in the right perspective, doesn't it?
And I guess it's because it is teaching me that. It's teaching me that my alignment matters more than anything else, and I have to stay in alignment. And
it's like our friend was saying earlier, though. There is other stuff.
Yeah.
And we know because we're walking across that with all of you all the time. We want it to be the most important thing. We want it to be the most significant thing. We want it to be the dominant thing. We want it to be the thing that you're thinking about the most, which will lead to all kinds of other really interesting, wonderful things.
Yeah.
But if you put the other things before you put that alignment, then you don't have the creative control that you can have.
Yeah. And I think because my focus, I feel like I have really good focus, and when I focus on things, when I find something to focus on, I focus really intensely. And I think
That's what our friend said earlier.
Yeah.
He focuses better when he's there with all of the people and all of the stuff that they're supposed to be doing.
Definitely. And I guess what my question then is like with jobs, for instance, another kind of as an illustration, when I'm in a job, it's very easy for me to understand that I'm learning things, I'm growing, I'm passionate, see all of the positive aspects, because I'm not attached to this job going on forever. I know that this could be a temporary thing, and I'm excited about either something moving on at the job or a different job. There's all this possibility, and I'm full of excitement and hope. And for some reason in this relationship, there's this attachment that I have to kind of make this work and form this into what I want it to be.
We like the juxtaposition of those two analogies, because we would prefer, even if you are in a job that you know is temporary, that you're not soothing yourself with the information it's temporary, but instead you're soothing yourself with your ability to extract from this temporary thing something that's meaningful now.
Yeah.
There's a big difference, isn't there?
Yeah.
So then with every relationship, if you have that same attitude about it, what is it that, you see, there's this human desire to get to the end place and then claim it as the final thing.
Yeah.
And you shoot yourself in the foot with that, because it's what makes you more often than not dissatisfied with where you are. Where if you could accept everything as temporary but juicy, everything as temporary but capable of being a moment in time that you utilize to satisfy your life experience, then you're always free and you're most always happy.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, really good.
Thank you.